Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jen Jen, and today's going to be a whip and chat, and we are still working on the on Scorpio. I'm almost done with this section, and then we're going to be starting this section. So we're going to get started. I'm going to tell you what's been going on this week, and yeah, this week has been a little crazy, so we're going to get started, and you guys can pull out whatever it is you're working on, your diamond painting, your cross stitch, your crochet, your paint by numbers, coloring, whatever, and you can listen to me just tell you what's been going on. So, well, last week I was a little productive. I got a couple things done around here that I wanted to get done. One was I have a drill storage inventory kind of thing, and that I have for my round drills and my square. Now my square ones are not done yet. My rounds are done. I did those on Monday and got those organized and put in the photo box that I wanted to put them in. And so now the next thing is just to get all the squares in a pile, and I need to order some more little baggies with the white strip on them that you can write the number on them, and get a photo box, and then I can put them in there and get started. And I didn't. So, but that was one thing that I got accomplished on Monday, and I'm gonna tell you, the last week was kind of stressful, only because no, but because I was trying to do all sorts of things and get ready for my test that I had to take and so forth, but I felt pretty good after I got my rounds situated and got them kind of organized. And yeah, so the square is the only one that's got to be organized. And so I'm not sure. No, I didn't tell you all this. Last Monday, Justin, the week started off Monday. Justin comes out, and I'm getting coffee, and he comes out, and he's doing his thing, and the next thing I know, I can hear him on the phone, and I didn't think anything of it. And he was in his room, so he comes out, and he's all dressed, got shoes on, and he's got on his most ratty looking clothes. And I was like, "You're awake? Where are you going?" And he says, "I'm going to do this job with Del Torio," which is his best friend. I was like, "What?" He's like, "I told you." I said, "No, you didn't." But not that I expected him to. He likes to just tell me where he's going, so that I know where he is, and kind of so I don't have to be like trying to figure out where he's at. And he says, "Well, I thought I told you." And I was like, "No, honey, you didn't tell me." And he's like, "Well, we're going to go do this side job." And he said originally I wasn't supposed to go. And I thought, okay. And he says because his best friends, whoever, told him that he was too frail because he's so skinny. He's got a bird chest, blah blah blah. And I was just like, okay. So he he says, I'm not sure when I'll be home, but I will let you know. I was like, okay. So he went and did that, and then he texted me around lunchtime, and he was like, Mom, he says, I'll be home around 2:30. Okay. So it was getting close to 2:30, and he texts me, he says, it's going to be a little longer. We're waiting for the guy that hired them to pay them. And I was like, okay. He said he should be on his way. He's supposed to be on his way here. I said, okay, no problem. Well, it was going on 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I still hadn't heard anything. I thought, okay, I'm going to call him. So I called him. Not to be the whatever mom. I was just kind of confused because, he was supposed to have been back by then, and I just didn't know if anything had happened. So he answers, and he's, really, really, I don't even know how to describe it. I want to say mad, but I don't even want to say that because I don't even know what that was. But anyway, he says, it's going to be a little longer. I was like, okay. And I said, I thought, you were done working. He says, we are. He says, but the guy's taking forever to bring us our money. Okay. So I said, all right, well, just let me know. So about 15, 20 minutes later, he calls me back. We're on our way home. Okay. And he says, I said, well, did you get paid already? And he's like, no. It's like, why? And he's like, I don't know. He says, the guy's taking it forever to get here, and he's basically wasn't answering any of the phone calls and so forth. I was like, okay. So I said, all right, well, your Gatorade is here when you get home. So he comes in, he's all sweaty, he's nasty, and he stands there. And I can tell by the look on his face that he's not happy. And I said, did you have fun? He's like, no. And I said, okay. Okay, sorry about that. He came up to ask me a question. So, anyway, he wasn't happy. I could tell he wasn't happy. And I said, okay, what happened? And anyway, long story short was they finished early. They finished at 2 o'clock, like 2:30, like they said they would. Well, his best friend's, okay, the guy that hired them, it's his best friend's aunt's boyfriend. And they hired him and his best friend to do some demolition work about 15-20 minutes away. So, and he was like, okay, cool. So he went, and he says, we busted our butts and we did what we were supposed to. Okay, so what's the problem? And he says, we're supposed to get paid $50. I'm like, okay. And I said, well, where's the money? And he said, I don't have it. And I said, why not? And he said, well, for some reason the guy was kind of apparently all it boils down to is the guy was avoiding the phone calls. And I said, Okay. And he said, yeah, the guy is avoiding, Deltario's mom's phone calls and so forth, and we don't know if we're going to get paid. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And you could tell he was kind of, not happy about it, which I can't say I blame him. And so, poor Justin, he's like, and I said, well, what's the problem? And he says, well, the guy says that we didn't work. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, the guy says that we didn't do any work. And I said, excuse you? And he says, yeah. And I said, okay, well, did you? He says, yes, Mom. He says, we worked. I said, okay, I was just asking. Don't need to get all, tissy with me. And, so, he says, he said, but then the amount changed. And I said, what do you mean the amount changed? And he said, that's what I'm saying. The amount changed. And I thought, okay. So how did the amount change? And he says, well, now he's saying that we're only going to get paid $20. And I said, so in other words, you're losing you're losing $60 because of this. And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God. Okay. So I said, okay, sorry, I had to put more parchment paper down. I need release papers. I need those release papers. Anyway, so I said, so you, what? So he says, yeah, he says we stopped working. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, what? And he says, yeah. I was like, okay. I said, did you? No, Mom. Okay. Now I'm just asking. And so anyway, long story short, he didn't get his money. He basically didn't get paid. And so he's kind of, ticked off, which I can't say I blame him. And I said, well, I'm sorry that happened to you and, everything, but, what do you want to do? And he says, there's really nothing I can do. And he says he's not just avoiding, I guess, his girlfriend. He's avoiding his, Deltario's mom and all this kind of crap. And I was like, so how many other people were at this job site? And he says, I don't know. He said, there was a lot of people there. And I said, was anybody else not working or stopped working? And he's like, no. And I thought, so everybody else was working and you too, but yet he says, oh, you stopped working. And he says, yeah. And I said, okay. So he was kind of down in the dumps about it, and his best friend was supposed to be letting him know about the money. So far I haven't heard anything. And I told him, I said, well, I don't really know what to do. And he's like, I know, Mom. He says, it just sucks. And I said, yeah, it sucks. I said, I get that. And he wasn't very happy. He was really, really ticked off, which I can't say I blame him. And it wasn't a real job. It was a side job. And he was supposed to go back the next day and do, they were supposed to go back the next day. And Justin said, I'm not going back. And I said, okay. And he says, Deltario's not either. And I said, well, I can't say I blame you. I mean, why do you want to work if you're not going to get paid for it? I mean, seriously. So they, they kind of were kind of, I mean, they both enjoyed it. They, Justin, Justin said, this is the funny part of the whole thing. Justin says, Mom, he says, I got to beat stuff or hit stuff and not get in trouble. And I was like, okay, so that's the only thing you came out of this with? He's like, no, he said, it was fun. He said, I enjoyed doing this. It was demolition work, and he enjoyed it. And I said, well, maybe that's what I don't know, can find a job doing. If you find somebody that's willing to, do, hire you for that kind of stuff. And he said, well, the only other problem with the whole thing was, apparently, now, I mean, his dad does construction, so he kind of knows that, even though he doesn't have any experience in it, he kind of knows that when you do demolition, you have to kind of wear goggles and have, your arms covered and so forth. And they didn't have any kind of goggles or anything whatsoever. So they were kind of doing this, I guess, they weren't doing it the way they were supposed to, if that makes any kind of sense at all whatsoever. So he, I told him, I said, well, you got it done. Yeah, I'm going to leave it up to you what you want to do. And he was like, well, he was kind of excited about the fact that he was going to get paid, because there's this game he wants. And, he was excited that he was going to get to do that and so forth, or use that money for it. And he was kind of, looking forward to that. And I said, I'm sorry. And the game's $60, which, any new Xbox game is, it's expensive. And, I said, I'm sorry. And he was like, it's okay. And, the last I heard was that he was going to have, they were still trying to get the money, but I haven't heard anything, else about it. I haven't asked him because, he just kind of blows it off. So I don't think they're going to get paid. I really don't. But, I can say that, and then, oh yeah, the guy will turn around and say, oh yeah, here you go, here's your money. So I don't know. But so he, that was his little unfortunate little experience Monday. And he's the rest of the week he was kind of in a blah mood about it, and a blah mood period, because it was kind of, it kind of put him down in the dumps. And I can't say that I blame him, because I probably would be too if that happened to me. And I told him, I said, well, this will tell you, this goes to show you that when you do something like this, you need to make sure that you either have, some kind of understanding beforehand, not just through the third person, but you have some kind of an understanding between the person that wants you to do the job and yourself, that you're going to pay, he's going to pay you this amount, or, whatever. And then, before you start the job, I said, because that way you're covered. So he's, he's not upset. Well, no, I don't want to say he's not, but he's, he's not happy. And so I haven't heard, like I said, I haven't heard anything else. So I don't know. I don't know, what's been going on. I know Friday, he was still waiting to hear back, or, kind of waiting to see what was, just waiting to see, because his friend's mom was going to, had been trying. So I don't really know what happened, or, haven't heard anything, because, I don't want to ask. But he's one of these kinds, and I will tell you, Justin is one of these ones that doesn't really show his emotions. I don't either that much. I'm like that. So, when I see him not really giving me an answer, or giving me something when I ask like that about that, I know right there and then that, yeah, it's not a good subject to talk about. So I don't talk to him about it, and I don't talk to him about it unless he comes to me. So it's all good. But I mean, he did tell me one thing. He says, "Mom," he says, "I'm not doing this again." And he was like, even though I enjoyed it, and I told him, I said, well, you can always put, that as you volunteered to help someone on your resume. I said, it doesn't have to be a company, and you can just tell them, look, I volunteered, with a friend, and this is what we did. And, you can take it from there, and, tell them, okay, this is, we did demolition work, and this is where we did it, and who it was for, and so forth. And yeah, so he wasn't, I think he's kind of figured it out now. I don't know, we'll see, who knows. So then and of course, now Tuesday I spent all day studying. Those of you that know, I did pass my state class, but I had to take the state exam, which for my state, and that's, oh, what the heck, I'm taking garbage and putting it on my, I had to take the state exam, which is a 2-part test. So I spent, Saturday or Tuesday trying to just going over everything that I needed, that I wanted to just make sure I, did a kind of a refresher review, so forth. And did that, took that whole day to study, didn't do a whole lot. And, the kids kind of helped with that. And then Wednesday, oh my God, you all are going to love this story. So Wednesday, I had to be on the virtual classroom by 2:45. Okay. So now this is a really crazy long story, so bear with me while I have to tell you all this. So, I had to have my ID or my license or whatever, and basically, they basically wanted us to do it in, at our office space, or wherever. And my office space is right here in this little area. My drafting table, then my desk, and so forth. Well, I knew they weren't going to let me take the test out here. There was just no way they were going to let me do it out here. So I thought, okay, you know what? We're just going to solve this right now. I'll just take it in my room, sit at my desk, or sit at in front of my bed, and go from there. Now, y'all are going to laugh. It took me 3 times to get into this classroom. Now, when you take a test like this, they give you proctors, which are people that watch you or sit there basically kind of sort of in the room with you, or, well, virtual room with you, and their camera is off, but yours is on. So I'm like, okay. So as I was getting ready to get into the room, you have to go through there's like a 3-step process. You have to go through the process. The first process is, you take the picture of yourself, and then you take a picture of your ID, and then you do the environment test. The environment test is, now, y'all gonna probably think this is all over the top. I did, but, it's part of the rules. The environment test requires that your room basically be sterile. In other words, you can't have anything in there. So I explained to them when I got on there that, I'm in my bedroom. My office space is out in my living room. I'm not moving all my stuff. I went through this 3 times. The first time, they did under my bed. They looked under my bed. Basically told me, I couldn't be in the room because of under my bed. I know, right? And I was like, what? And I said, I'm not going under my bed. Why would I want to go under my bed? And all because there was like clothes or something under. I don't even know. I don't even look under my bed, so I don't know. So I was like, okay, I've heard it all now. So, I got a little irritated at first. And believe me, I was irritated. And so I'm like, oh my God. So she basically told me that not only did I have to take everything out from underneath my bed, which, God, come on, people. It was just a freaking clothes hanger and something else. But anyway, so I had to basically take everything out of the bedroom except for the furniture. And I just looked at her. And I just kind of looked at her, and she's like, ma'am. I was like, you do realize that I'm doing this from my home, in my bedroom, and you're basically telling me that I have to take everything out of my bedroom. Yeah. Okay. So I did. I came out. Now, mind you, I can't lift a whole lot of stuff. My back has gotten worse, and I was like, okay, I was really, really, getting to the point that at that point I was getting kind of irritated. So after I did that, got it all out and went back in. Now the second time is what really, really kind of did it for me. So we went through the whole first couple steps. Went through the environment test, the environment step, and then it came time for me to show my ID. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I had to sit here and think about it after the fact, but I had to laugh because I don't know if it was this guy or what, but he, was looking. He did all that, and then he's like, all right, can you show me your ID? I was like, okay. So I showed it to him. And he looks at me and he says, I can't see your ID. Or I can't see your expiration date on your license. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm sitting here with my ID up to the camera, and I can see what is being shown through the camera on my screen. I could see my expiration date. Then he wanted me to get a glass of water because glass of water magnifies, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you're kidding me, right? So I go get the glass of water, come back in, and he still can't see it. Now, mind you, I'm looking right at it. I'm thinking, okay, whatever. So he then turns around and tells me that I need to call tech support. Okay, what do I need to call tech support for? And now by this time, I'm getting really, really, kind of pissy and kind of in a mood. And he's like, they need to do something with your camera. There's nothing wrong with my camera. Well, I can't see your expiration date. Well, and I point blank, and this is where I got really, really, frustrated, and I just kind of got snappy with the guy, and I looked at him, and I said, let me tell you something. I said, I'm looking right at it through the camera, and I can see it on the screen, and I can see the expiration date. I said, you either need to get your eyes checked, or you need to do something about your camera, because I can see it. So he, kind of got condescending, or whatever you call it. Started talking down to me like I was a child. And I looked at him and I said, look, I said, I'm 51 years old. I don't need to be talked to like I'm a child. He turns around and he says, well, then you need to stop acting like one. And I said, excuse you? And now, mind you, I wasn't acting anything. Yes, I was frustrated. Yes, I was getting a little snappy. But I wasn't acting like a spoiled little child. And I said, I'm just explaining to you that I can see this. I said, I don't have, all day to sit here and bull crap, do all this bull crap with you guys just so I can take a test and, get this done. I said, something's seriously wrong here, because you either are just doing this out of, because I don't know what your problem is. So finally, I go back. He gives me the number. By this time, I'm to the point now. I really don't care if I take the test or not. And he says, so I called the number he gave me. He gave me the wrong number. Go figure, right? So I'm like, oh my God. And I literally had enough. And I, after I kind of snapped at the lady that was on the phone, I said, I need to speak to somebody in tech support. And she was like, for what? And I told her, and she's like, ma'am, this isn't tech support for them. You're kidding me, right? She says, no. And I was like, oh my God. And I explained to her what was going on, and she says, he told you to call here? I said, yeah. She says, wow. I said, what do I do? She says, go back in there. She says, I will give you the number to their tech support, but I want you to only use it as a last resort. She says, not every proctor has a problem with their camera. Okay. So I went in, and now by this time I'm almost in tears, because I'm like, I'm never going to get to take this test. So I go in. Now, mind you, here I am thinking I'm going to be on this computer for like 4 hours or 5 hours, because it's just the way that they, set it up, I guess. So I get in there, and this person could see everything. And I'm thinking, thank you, God. And I said it out loud, and she's like, what's wrong? And I explained it to her, and she just kind of looked, she just sat there, and she's like, you're kidding. I said, no. I said, I was to the point that I was ready to just say, you know what, I'm not doing this. So she got me all set up, and we went in and did everything, and the first part was only an hour and a half. And I was like, okay, this works. Well, and most of the questions I didn't have a problem with, but obviously I did, because I failed it by, I don't even know how much now. And I was kind of like, really? After all of this work I did? So there's 2 parts to the test. So I have to take, I had to take the second part. So now I've got to wait until the 14th, and then I can reschedule it, and hopefully I'll pass it this time. I kind of was felt down on myself about it because I didn't pass, but my boss was like, no, you're not the only one. It took me 2 times. I was like, okay, I don't feel so bad. So yeah. So now I'm just kind of reviewing and kind of going over everything again. And believe me, there's a lot of information. And, some of the information that I didn't do well with in a class. Okay, now y'all are going to laugh at this. I really didn't. There was one section I couldn't just get. I was like confused. And obviously I didn't. I was like, okay. And I don't know anything about the subject. That's part of the insurance part. I'm totally clueless. Well, obviously I'm not that clueless. If I almost passed that section on the exam. Okay. So I was just like, holy crap. So, and the good thing about it is once they give you your results, they give you a like a diagram that shows you what if you pass that section or not. So I have it and know what I need to work on. So yeah, so I'm gonna be kind of carefully over the next couple weeks going over all that stuff, and just trying to get everything done so I can take it again, because I have to pay for it again. So it's kind of sucky that has to happen, but that's okay. But yeah, the kids were like looking at me like I had lost my mind, and they felt bad for me the whole time, because they were like, Mom, what's taking so long for you to get into this class? And I said, I don't know. I said, they're being crazy. And my exact words were, they were being anal, because they were. But then, I get it, because, there's a lot of people that I guess, they've had that, snuck stuff in and so forth. You can't even have your cell phone. And, which is fine, because it was plugged in and out in my living room. So it was no big deal. But yeah, they were pretty anal about everything and anything. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, all this just to take an hour and a half test. I mean, seriously. And of course, after it was all said and done, I looked at the kids and I said, you do realize that we're gonna have to do this again. And they just kind of looked at me like, what? I said, yeah, we're gonna have to look at this again and do this again. And of course, my kids were like, we're gonna have to move everything out of your room again. I said, yeah. And they just looked at me like, oh my God, seriously? I'm like, yeah. So I got plenty of time to prepare this time, which is the good thing. And but yeah, I just like, oh my God, it was crazy. And of course Skylar's going around, little dude's going around, these people are just so mean and rude. And I'm like, yeah, it. But yeah, it was hard. It was long. It wasn't long. I thought it was going to be longer than it was. And I'm glad that I kind of failed it this time because, now I know kind of what to expect and kind of have an idea of, how long I have to sit there and so forth. And it shouldn't be that hard. And we will see. But, it was just a crazy day. It was just crazy. So, and I'm trying to think what else has been going on here because I don't, oh my God, I kind of lost my thoughts. Sorry. So, now the next crazy, ridiculous thing that happened this week, I had to call Xfinity. Okay. Now, the whole thing behind this is, okay, I have had internet for 3 years, and basically, the internet box I was given, it was kind of one of those basic things where, if you have low speed, you don't need, this crazy modem or whatever. So I upgraded my internet. And when I upgraded the internet, I upgraded it with the what do you call it? The whole idea in mind that I was going to be starting a job in customer service and working for just doing customer service, taking phone calls and so forth. So anyway, I upgraded the internet. Well, they told me that I didn't need a new modem or router or whatever you want to call it. And I thought, okay, whatever. So I noticed that after I'd upgraded the speed on my internet, that it started to basically, the router started to basically restart itself, and would sometimes do that more than what I thought it would. So I'd had enough, so I called them, and I'm gonna tell you, their automated system is for the birds, basically. It is the worst automated system I have ever dealt with. And every time I wanted to talk to a customer service agent, it was like it'd take me here, there, and everywhere, or all the way around my elbow just to get to my freaking arm. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm done with this. So finally I called somebody about my bill. That's all I did. That was the only way I could get through to anybody, was to basically talk to somebody about my payment. And I explained to the guy why I was calling. And he was like, and I told him, I said, I don't even know if I have the right department, which I knew I didn't. But, I wanted to sound, kind of at my wit's end. And he was like, okay, what can I help you with? And I explained it to him. And I said, I'm trying to see if my modem needs to be upgraded. And he was like, okay, well, let's look at that. So he did. And he says, yeah, you need a new modem. I was like, okay. So he ordered the modem. Now, I was on the phone with them for a whole flipping hour. No lie. And I was just like getting to the point where I was just really getting annoyed. Well, the guy, because he was, basically in the billing department, he says, I need to transfer you over to tech support. They can upgrade your modem. Okay. I thought everything was going to go, wonderful from there. Yeah, okay, not. And I'm, by this point, I was like, okay, it can't get any worse. Now, I don't even know how to put this. I don't know why, but I always get somebody that doesn't speak English very well. I don't know if it's just to annoy the crap out of me or what, but I don't get, I'm serious, people. I was like, oh my God. So I explained to the person on the phone what I wanted. And now she totally, I don't know if she didn't understand what I meant or what. She's like, so you're having problems with your modem? No, I need to upgrade my modem. Well, we need to troubleshoot. What part of I'm trying to upgrade my modem don't you understand? She's like, well, we need to reset and we need to troubleshoot and we need to see if there's anything wrong with it. That's not, and I tried to explain to her. I said, look, that's not why I'm calling. And she, basically, restarted my modem. And I kept telling her, ma'am, that's not why I'm calling. So, the whole time that she's doing that, I'm sitting here, she's telling me what the process, what she's doing. And I said, ma'am, that's not why I'm calling. And I was just like, okay, really? And, so, she's like, ma'am, there's nothing wrong with your modem. And I was like, no, there's not. It needs to be upgraded. Okay. Why does it need to be upgraded? Now, mind you, I've already explained this at the beginning of the conversation when I was transferred to her. Okay? This is the second person. So, like, I upgraded my internet. The internet is not, the speed is not compatible with this modem. Okay. Well, we troubleshooted. There's nothing. That's not what I'm asking. Guys, you have no idea. So, by this time, I was getting to the point where I was ready to just, like, say some very not so nice words. And I said, look, I'm going to explain this again. So I went through the whole process again. I explained. And she says, oh, you need a new modem. Really? I just told you this. And I said, yes. Okay. Well, we can do that. Oh my God. Okay. Finally. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get done with this call. Everything's going to be cool. And I can, by this time I'm really, really stressed out. And I'm like, getting a really bad headache. And I'm thinking, can this day just be done? So, she goes ahead and she, upgrades my modem and so forth. But then, now, the way that they do things now, you can either, I don't know, she said I should have been able to do this through the app. There's no way, because I tried. And I explained to her, look, I tried, it didn't work. And she's like, well, would you like me to go through it with you? No, I do not. I want a new modem. I want you to send me a modem. And please, can we just do this? And she was like, okay, ma'am. And I was to the point that I thought, oh my God, can we just please, can I just get off this phone? By this time, I was ready to get off the phone. And so, she finally, she says, well, I need to do this, something about verification and so forth. And so she says, who did you talk to? Okay, first of all, I explained all this to her in the beginning. And I'm one of these ones that when I'm going to call for something like that, I give as many details as I possibly can, because if you don't, you're going to get asked a million questions. So I explained to her that I already explained this to her once. And she's like, ma'am, I didn't. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. So I went through the whole thing again. And I said, look, I said, the guy I talked to in the billing department looked it up. And he told me to, he was going to transfer me to tech support so that I could get my modem upgraded. And he's the one that said I needed the new modem. Oh. So then she's like, okay. So I thought, okay, we're on a roll again. No. I'm going to tell you, people, by this time, I was ready to just like totally freaking scream, because I don't know if they do this intentionally. I really don't know what I'm assuming that they don't want to give you an upgrade unless, the equipment that you have now doesn't work or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is behind, all the questions, the deflections. I don't know. But I was getting to the point where I was just ready to jump through this phone, and I was going to tell her, look, please just upgrade my modem and don't ask me any more crazy questions. So finally, okay, she comes back. Ma'am, I need to transfer you to another person. Really? Why? Because we need something about, they needed some kind of verification that, I don't know. So by this time I was like, you know what, whatever. So I said, fine, whatever, do whatever. And she's like, okay, thank you, ma'am. And I'm thinking, oh God. So the last guy, finally, he understood what I needed. And he says, okay, we're going to do this, and, we're going to get you taken care of. It's like, okay. So now, we're almost done. And their policy now, instead of, I don't know, I guess when you order stuff over online from them or over the phone, they send you a link in a text message. And in that link is where you can confirm your order or what have you. So he's like, I'm going to send this link to your phone. So, he told me, he read my cell number back, and I was like, yes, that's the number. And so it should be coming through any second. I waited. Nothing happened. And I practically busted out laughing, because at that point I was like, you know what, I'm done. And I was hysterically laughing. And I said, I'm not getting anything. So he tried to send it again. It didn't work. And he's like, okay. So, by this time I'm like, trying to contain myself, because, I'm at this point now. I think, people are going to think I'm crazy and so forth. So finally, he says, we're going to do a voice verification. He said that only happens if, other methods don't work. They didn't ask for my email, which I was kind of shocked. And I said, okay. So we did the voice verification. They sent it out. And it came today. And that's a whole nother issue to that. But anyway, so it came today. And I told him, I said, I really, really appreciate it. I said, I know I sounded kind of snappy on the phone with you. And I said, you got to realize, and I said, I hate to say this. I said, but your automated system sucks. And I said, it was just crazy trying to get through to talk to somebody to basically upgrade my modem. And he says, yeah, I know. They don't, it's supposed to be a really good fail-safe. He says, but they don't add all the options that need to be added. And when something like me wanting to upgrade my modem, it doesn't give you that option. So I was like, okay. So then today, of course, I get the modem, and I go to connect it. Now I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a tech savvy person. You all know that. I am not. So I'm like, oh my God. So it tells me what to do in the thing. Now, there were 3 steps to this. You plug it in. You hook up the coaxial or whatever it's called to the back of it, to the wall. And then, you should be good to go. Wrong, wrong, wrong. So I did everything that it said in the instructions, and I'm like, okay. Now, then I said, okay, why isn't it working? So then I called. And of course, they, when you call, you got to go through the whole freaking thing. And they, basically, the way it sounds is they don't help you unless there's nothing else that can be done by the automated system. So I'm like, I give up. So finally, I get a thing to call them back. So I called him back, got on the phone. The guy was like, I explained to him what the situation was. And I said, I don't really need an appointment. I said, I just need to find out why, I can't get this to work. So he said, all right, we're going to do it this way. So he went through the whole process. Come to find out, there's the 4th step. Go figure. After you plug it in and after you connect it to the, the coaxial, whatever it's called, to the thing, you're supposed to call and activate it. And he said, now this also can be done on the app. I'm like, yeah, okay, where? And he just started laughing, and he says, you couldn't do it? I said, no, it didn't give me an option. I said, it showed both of my boxes. I said, then when I click, go to hit the new one, it doesn't let me. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, you're not the only one. He said, there's, when they send out these, they don't tell you that you need to call the activation number. I'm like, oh, so then it's not me. And he says, no. So yeah, it's been interesting. Finally, I've got my new modem set up and everything, but it was just the point. I was like, oh my God, this can't get any worse. And I thought today, which is was gonna go okay, and oh my God, people, I was about ready to scream. So I was just like, okay, can I just please now just relax? I'm telling you, my neck, when I get like that, when I get stressed like that, my neck, either right here on the nape or on the right side of my neck, I get this really, really, like this, my neck stiffens right up. And I thought, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to have an issue. I'm just going to like scream or something. And thank God it works. And my God. So that was my experience today. And, but the rest of the week, Friday through Saturday or Sunday, we kind of just sat around here and, watched movies. Me and Miranda and her boyfriend watched Harry Potter, the Harry Potter movies and Lord of the Rings all weekend. I got onto a Harry Potter kick the other day, and of course the little dude looks at me and he says, they have movies? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh. So, he was going to watch them. But then he started watching, well, actually, no, he started watching it. And then he was kind of uninterested. He was more interested in Lord of the Rings than the Harry Potter movies, which I thought was kind of weird because, I don't know. I mean, I like both, but I thought it was kind of weird for him to be wanting to be more interested in that, but that's okay. So, yeah. So that was our week in a nutshell. And let me tell you, I hope that, I mean, it wasn't a bad week. It was just, there were a couple of days that I really, really thought I was just going to go completely, totally bonkers because I was ready to just say, you know what? I'm done. But, yeah, it was kind of one of those weeks where there was a lot that went on. A lot more than usual. And I try to not bore y'all because I know some of y'all don't like it when I just, sit here and talk about the same thing over and over again. And I try to find other things to talk about. That's why I sit here and write that stuff down. Because I know I'll forget. But, what else has been going on? There was something else I was going to tell you. Oh, and I did a thing, guys. There's two things I need to tell you before we kind of end it. And I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to wait till the end, but I kind of remembered it a little late. Two things. I did a thing. There's a lot of people that are going on to buymecoffee.com. I have posted my link to that in the description box below. And I am, I just started it this weekend. And so, it's there for you guys to, if you want to, you can, do that. It would be appreciated because you know how I am. I love my coffee. The other thing is I added my Amazon wish list down below. And I'm kind of trying to make sure I stay up to date with the description box because sometimes I don't always do that. I don't know why. Sometimes I forget to do that. I don't know why. I have no clue. Yeah, those two I did. I was kind of like, and I wasn't going to do it. I was kind of like sitting there thinking, okay, do I really want to do the buy me coffee thing? And, but I noticed there's a lot of creators that do that. So, yeah, you can buy me coffee now. So, what was the other thing? Oh, I hate to do this to y'all, but I have switched my lives again. Only reason is because there are a lot of people that are going live on Saturdays. Or just going live, period. And the only time that I see that seems to be a time that isn't being kind of used is on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. So I have moved it to then. And this coming Sunday, I will be going live then before Cal. Sorry, Cal. I just wanted you to know. So, I used to go live before her. And then I used to go live after her. So, then I kind of stopped going live, period. But I wanted to try a different day and see what would happen. And it didn't work. So, I am going back to my Sundays at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Or 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Excuse me. And I will only be going for an hour and a half. That way it'll give everybody time to, after my live, to go ahead and, get themselves, kind of situated and ready for cows and so forth. So, that's really all I have to share today, guys. I know you're like, really? Your week has kind of been interesting. And it's been interesting. It's been kind of interesting. And productive. I'll put it that way. So that's it, guys. That's all I got. And thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a great week. And, make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. And I will see you all next time.